What's going on, everyone? It's DV, and today we're back in Pet 799 to talk about the most common mistakes I see players making, whether they're experienced or they're new to the game. These are pretty typical of most players. Everyone kind of goes through these at some point in the game, and I'm hoping to prevent you from some of these mistakes in the first place. Now, I know a lot of you don't even play this game who still watch me, and don't worry, I do have more Bed Wars videos coming up. I've got Blocks Routes, I've got Doors, I've got hopefully Rainbow Friends will update soon, hopefully Break-In will update soon. We've got Islands. Yes, I will be making more Islands videos. Yeah, there's a lot of games that I cover. Don't worry, I still have more videos coming up for those games. I'm just really enjoying Pet 799 right now. There's so much content for me to make on this game. I'm loving it. So the first couple of mistakes we're going to cover are really for new players, all right? The first one I often see is people grinding an area. So say you're right here and you need to unlock the next zone. The biggest mistake is just grinding this area, especially if your pets are weak. It's going to take them a lot longer to break this stuff, right? And so what you really should be doing is going back to zones. And if you've been following my hardcore series, you probably saw this tip in that video. If you grind 2 zones away from the area, imagine this is blocked right here, right? You don't have this next zone unlocked. You should be back here, about right here. And then you should be dropping jars here because you can break jars super fast and you will unlock and progress in the game so much faster if you do this. Trying to grind in the best zone is not a good idea unless you're finally at the greatest zone. Obviously, if you're all the way at the end already, then that's fine. The next newbie mistake I see a lot is upgrading stuff before you really should be. So say you're here, you've got like your default. I think you start with like 3 pets that you can equip, or 4. A lot of players just start upgrading these as soon as they have the diamonds, and they shouldn't. All of these should not be upgraded yet until way later, right? Once you have maybe 100,000 diamonds, maybe. But what you really want to be doing is going over here and buying and unlocking as many pet equips as you can. Unlocking another pet equip is going to be so much better than getting a little bit of run speed, because at some point with your rank unlocks, you're going to get a hoverboard anyway. So you won't need that speed. You also have tap damage. You don't need that as much as you need more equips. You have this one's for more diamonds. It's not going to be noticeable. You might get 1 more extra diamond, okay? Pet speed's not going to be very important. You can use potions. You're going to get those anyway. Magnet's not going to be important because you have magnet enchants you can get eventually. Drops are decent, but not needed, especially as you're new. This right here, damage, pet damage, having another pet equip is going to do way more damage than getting that upgrade. So again, you don't want to be spending any money on these upgrades. If you watch my hardcore series, I give this tip as well. You'll notice that my hardcore account reached all the way to the end without all those upgrades, and it did just fine. And then buying those upgrades did not help me much anyway. So they're not that significant as much as a lot of people like think suddenly they're so OP by upgrading these. It doesn't really help that much. But equipping and hatching does. So you're going to want to get as many hatches as you can, because the reason why you want these is you're going to eventually get tasks in here that you need to hatch eggs for, and you want as many hatches as you can to speed that process up. The next newbie mistake I see a lot of players doing is working on 1 and 2 star tasks before 3 and 4. And really, what you really should be doing is just leaving these alone. You'll notice I never work on these because it takes so long for you to complete these. Now, early on, I believe it's like level 4 or 5. I can't remember. Someone can tell me in the comments below. When you're early ranks, you have no choice but to get only 1 and 2 star tasks. And eventually you unlock a 3 star and eventually unlock the 4 stars. But once you have these unlocked, unless these are kind of similar to these, you shouldn't be touching these. Like doing an obby just to be able to get 1 star is already a huge waste of time. You shouldn't be working on those. Having to do an obby just for the 1 star is crazy to me, unless of course you are super low rank. But if you look at like the higher rank you go, like look how many stars I gotta get. I gotta get 8 here. Eventually it gets like to like 15, 16 down here. That's a lot of like tasks to complete just to complete one of these. Whereas over here you got 4 and 3s. Of course you're gonna focus on these. Like I only need 3 more jars. Why would I even do an obby if all I gotta do is go down here and break 3 more jars or 5 jars? So, I mean, there's no real reason to be like grinding pyramids or doing the dig site just for a couple stars. So now we're going to switch over to some economic stuff that I see a lot of players making a mistake on. The first one being, should you use your keys, your secret keys, your crystal keys, or your spin tickets, or should you sell them? And the answer I'm going to give you is you should sell them. A lot of people are making a mistake of using these. And if you can see my RAP, which stands for recent auction price, although it's no longer just about auctions, it's about any transaction. So if you're selling them from your booth or if they're getting sold via auction, of course, that's going to be tracked as part of the RAP, which is that price on the right, not the left side. The 1.2 million is the total of my 13 keys here. So it's basically multiplying 13 by 93,000 each. So if I had 10 of these, these, it would be, you know, worth basically 936,000, right? Because you do 10 times 93,000. That's just basic math. If I were to open or use this key, I'm probably going to get something worth about 1,000 or 2. But if I sold this key, I would get 93,000. If I sold this key, I could get 93,000, and then I could just buy whatever I want from it, right? That I would have gotten from the drop in the first place. Same goes for crystal keys. Crystal keys, they generally don't give you that much good stuff. Yeah, you could get a huge out of it. It's really, really rare. If you gather enough keys, just go and sell those and get the huge. You know, and you also have these uppers and you got the bottoms. It's a good idea to combine these, but you don't have to. And then the spin tickets, also similar issue. They're, you know, only sometimes does the huge show up on the wheel spin. I'll show you that. But sometimes you can get the propeller cat in here. You can always just reload the server and you'll get different items each time you do this. And then you could spin it for a chance for the huge. Like by then you could just go and buy the huge, you know, so it's not really worth it. A similar topic is with charm stones. A lot of people are opening these instead of selling them. They're worth about 50,000 a piece right now. RAP on this is pretty accurate because it's a high volume item. It does get transacted a lot. It's not going to get projected. We'll talk about projections in a little bit. If I open these, I just open a bunch. Let's see which ones are blinking. So we got this one worth 11,000, 8,000, 2,000, 3,000, and 1,000. None of these that I just opened were worth more than the charm stone itself. Again, no reason to be opening these. I mean, if I were to open all of these, it would be worth, you know, 51. It's right now, like the total RAP on that is about, it's over 50 million, right? If I were to open all of these, I might get an overload that's worth 5 million. Again, you don't really want to do that. Don't open these. Try to sell them. Now, this might change if they add more charms because they do have the ability to remove charm stones coming up pretty soon. That means people might be more interested in buying these. Right now, there's too many. That's why the prices are so bad. You can't remove them from your huges. So what do you do with these if they're just extras? You know, knowing that you can remove them from your huges is going to be so great for the game and give charms a reason or purpose now. Another mistake I see a lot of players making, which is getting them scammed, is not paying attention to millions versus thousands. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So you'll often find people like, say, let's see if I can find one here. It's going to be a little rough. You don't always see it, but it almost got me scammed a couple times. Let me go and unequip these guys. It's usually with cheap stuff too, so you don't really expect it to happen. But what they do is they put an item in for a million instead of 1,000. So let's find something that's worth very little. This right here. So you might be looking for buckets. What they'll do is see the RAP right there. It says 3.43. They'll do that. And they'll put 3.43 million. So that way, when you come over, it will show 3.4 M. Now, I don't want to list this because someone might get scammed by me on accident. But what happens is all that's different from this price is that there's an M instead of a K down there. And then you can get scammed because you weren't paying attention. Plus, it's low priced enough that you probably won't notice you just got scammed because you'll probably have more than 3 million on you. So pay attention. Always go in here first. Take your time with purchases. Don't try to like snipe stuff. The next mistake I see a lot of players making, and this is probably one of the most annoying ones for me personally, is going to be using RAP when you shouldn't be using it. So most of the time it's okay. Like if you're going to go buy some keys, it's totally okay to use RAP. Like looking at the secret key, okay, it's 93.6. Yeah, this guy's selling it for 94,000. I use that. That's pretty good. You know, it's high volume enough to be close to accurate because someone can't like mess with or project with things. We'll talk about projections in a little bit as far as how you break the pricing of items. If it's an item you think is traded in, you know, a lot of, like for example, 1,000 of these gift bags, then that's probably a pretty accurate RAP because it is traded and transacted with often. Where it's not okay to use RAP are going to be items that aren't traded that often. For example, all of these Titanics here, completely incorrect. Look at these are worth over $1 billion, especially this jellyfish here. This Atlantean jellyfish is worth well into the billion. I don't know what it's worth. It could be like 1.8 billion. It could be 2 billion. I don't really know because I'm not tracking the trades currently for this particular Titanic. But I know there's only 357 of these inside the economy. Therefore, it is one of the most expensive ones, along with the blobfish and a bunch of others. To assume that this thing is worth 963 million is a joke. You'll get laughed out of the server. You're going to be very embarrassed when everyone tells you you're a dummy. And I don't want that to happen, okay? This is a big mistake a lot of new players are making. They assume that all of these are the accurate prices for these, but the reason why it's this price is because no one's been selling them. They can't, like even the blobfishes, no one's ever sold a blobfish in the trading plaza because they already knew it's worth more than anything that they would be willing to take inside the trade plaza. So to assume that this is an RAP of 0 value is a joke. Same with these, 963 million. No way, no way. None of these are correct, okay? Now, once they increase the diamond cap here to billions, then you'll probably start seeing more realistic numbers, but even the rare ones will not be accurate most of the time. If it's a rare item or pet, chances are your RAP is way off and way under than what it really is. And so if you're trying to offer someone RAP price for a really rare item, they're gonna get really angry with you because you're trying to scam them. And you really kind of are unintentionally. And another example I'm going to show you is, let's say, let's find a huge that is kind of rare. I have a huge dragon. So you can look at this price. There's 19,000 of these. They're going for 29.9 million. So let's just say 30 million. All right. There's almost 20,000 of these. That's pretty crazy. Now with the rainbow huge dragon, there's only 225 of them, right? 114 million for that. That price is very out of date. And then you've got the, I don't think there's a rainbow. Yeah. So there's a rainbow shiny. There's only 3 in existence. That's why there's no RAP on it. Let's just see what the shiny, like the regular shiny is for this guy. Only 85 million for a shiny huge dragon that only has 148 in existence. 85 million. That's a joke as well. Look at this Titanic silver dragon. It's only worth 98 million, everyone. Let's just go buy one. I hope you're following where I'm trying to take you on this, that you don't make this mistake using RAP on rare items. Now let's talk about projected items, all right? So a while back, let's see if I can find it. This guy right here, the huge Inferno Cat. So there are 1,000 of these in existence and they got projected hard, okay? The Inferno Cats got way projected for 338 million. They really messed with this one. There were a couple guys on a server once just selling these over and over and over for 400 million to each other just to bump up the value. And I witnessed it firsthand. It was in one of my videos and they were basically messing with the economy. And this happens a lot. So you got to be really, really careful of this. This is kind of a scam in many ways. It's crazy market manipulation. And the reason why they're doing that is they're trying to trade these for Titanics. They projected up to 400 million. Basically, projection means market manipulation. Another mistake I see a lot of players making is they're opening the exclusive eggs. So instead of selling these, they open them. Let me show you some stuff, okay? So currently the Valentine's cat and the huge right here. So the Valentine's cat's going for like 40 million. The egg itself, so let me just go buy some of these. All right, I just bought 10 of those. The egg itself is going for 8.95 million. Now, if I sold 10 of these, how much would I have? I mean, it's simple math. I would have 89.5 million, right? If I did exactly the RAP, a lot of people are selling them for 9 million. So let's just say I sell each of these for 9 million each. I have 90 million diamonds. Now, if I were to open all of these, chances are I won't get a huge. I could get a Titanic, I could get a huge, but chances are I probably will not get a huge. So if you want to guarantee your huge, you got to go and sell these, all right? And if I do that, then guess how many huges I can get. If the Valentine's cat is going for 39 million and I'll have 90 million, I could buy 2 of these for the cost of 10 eggs. Instead of opening 10 eggs and maybe getting one, I'm guaranteed 2 huges. Close to that. Even if I spent, 45 million a piece, I would get 2 huges. So we could go and try to find these right now. Let's see what they're going for. All right, here's one for 40 million. I'm just going to go and buy that. And that one's 41 million. So we're going to go and buy it. It has charms. It's okay. We'll take them off later. They're selling their eggs for 9.1 million. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to come over here. We're going to go and sell our eggs. We'll sell mine for 8.9 just to clear them, give people a good deal. This guy's selling his for 90. Okay, this is what I was talking about, everyone. Look at 91 million versus 9.1 million. This is what I was talking about earlier. This is a great example. And we got our money back. Plus, I bought a couple of things. So yeah, that's the way to do it. Next mistake I see a lot of players making are holding on to diamonds. Like, this is bad, okay? What I'm doing right now with 238 million is really, 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 really bad. I would say anything over like 20 million, you're pretty much losing value. If you have like 10 million, I mean, it's not a lot these days, but if you had put it in a huge, you'd probably have a lot more. Let's see what a Happy Rock's going for. It's going for 20 million now. So yeah, it's crazy. That's just RAP too. So inflation is going to be pretty much outpacing the value of your diamonds. And so if you're holding on to a balance for too long, you're really losing money. Like, I could have probably doubled this just by putting it all inside Happy Rocks for a while. Granted, I've been spending a lot for this whole clan battle, but I recommend putting your money into like eggs, huges, anything that's going to be fairly limited, even enchants. Like if you buy those mimics, if you look at the mimic value now, chest mimics are crazy right now. I have 9 of them, but yeah, they're 167 million now. Remember my video where I said go buy these now? Hopefully you listened. hopefully you listened and you're welcome. But yeah, make sure you're spending money inside limiteds. That's the best thing to go and put your money into. And at some point, your diamonds are going to keep up with the pace of inflation. And that way you can afford Titanics later. If you don't do this, you're going to eventually be wishing you had. Finally, this is a really big one. I'm surprised a lot of people don't understand this. And a little bit earlier, I wish I got on recording, but like just a moment ago, I was in another server and some people were offering like pets inside of Adopt Me for a huge. That is considered a cross trading. If you don't know what cross trading is, it's basically anytime you're trading for items outside of the typical format, right? So if the game allows you to buy eggs, with Robux and you get these, great, that's fine. It's not cross trade. But if you offered someone Robux for, say, they're huge, or bought it outside of the game, same with Titanic, same with anything in this game, including diamonds. That includes gems. That is considered cross trade, and typically speaking, it is bannable. The game devs will ban you if they discover that you're doing that, and they have logs. If you're trying to like buy stuff, with real money outside of the game, even buying stuff on like auction sites outside of the game is going to get you banned if it's found out. Okay, so it's not hard for them to find that stuff. PetSim gets around this with the whole plush system, with being able to have codes for Titanic. So technically, that's the only way you're really going to be able to buy something outside of the game. Same with the codes. If you go to like Target or Walmart, any of the shops, you can find like toys that have DLC codes, which you can then redeem. So kind of like the plushes that you see all the time. You have no right or ownership to sell something that is now digitally in the game. If you try to sell this to someone for Robux, for money, any other way, you don't own this item. You don't have any rights or ownership to these items. I know that sounds weird, but that's just terms of service, okay? This is stuff that can get you into a lot of trouble. So it's a big mistake. I see a lot of players making it. We ban people. If we find out you're doing this kind of stuff, we ban you immediately from the server permanently. Giving someone a huge in exchange for something in a different game, or like say you're, someone's gifting you a kit in Bed Wars for something in this game, that is completely bannable. That is considered cross trading. Don't do that kind of stuff. Only trade between others inside the same game. That's the best way you can stay safe from getting banned. Thanks again for watching. Hopefully you learned something from this video. If you didn't, hey, put in some tips below. If I missed something, maybe you see some other players making common mistakes. I'd love to see those. Thanks again for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next vid. Peace.